Overall #1 seed Auburn, looking for its third Elite Eight appearance in program history. 5 seed Michigan, looking to advance to the Elite Eight in Dusty May's first season as Wolverines head coach. Mid-first half, Danny Wolf driving, dunking. Wolf, part of last year's Yale team that upset Auburn in the tournament. Under a minute left in the half, Auburn down 1. Janai Broome backs down Vlad Golden, working, misses, sticks with it. Tigers up 1 at the break. Broome a double-double in the first half. Second half, 13 to go. Michigan up 5. Wolf spinning and hitting. He finished with 20. Wolverines up by 7, led by as many as 9. Auburn facing its largest deficit of the tournament. 11 minutes left. Tigers down 3. Broome in the post. National Player of the Year candidate hook shot. That's good. 8 straight Auburn points. Gets the Tigers within 1. Minute later, Broome no. Dylan Cardwell, offensive rebound, kicks it out to Hod Pettiford. The freshman, step back. Auburn takes its first lead of the second half, up 1, part of a 12-0 run. 9 minutes left. Denver Jones for 3. Got it. Up 4. Next Auburn possession. Jones, another 3. Up 7. Auburn taking control. Lost 3 of their final 4 to end the regular season. Next Auburn possession. Jones up and in. Caps a 20-2 Tigers run. Start of the run down 9. End of the run up 9. 5 minutes left. Auburn up 7. Shot clock running out. Pettiford crossover. Drains the step back 3. Buckets. My name is Tahad Pettiford and I get buckets, up 10. Next Auburn possession. Pettiford. Fade away. So smooth, plus the foul. Up 13 after the free throw. He finished with 20. 3 minutes left. Chad Baker-Mazara, no look to, oh my goodness. Are you kidding me? Chaney Johnson with the finish. After trailing by 9, Auburn closes the game on a 39-17 run as the Tigers win it 78-65, advancing to the third Elite Eight in school history. Their 31st win this season, most in program history. Bruce Pearl, pumped.
Coach, the smile says it all, but let's talk about that second half, a 31-8 run. What was the difference there by your team?
You know, Tracy, I just thought we played great defensively with unbelievable effort and energy. And we got to give, who are we going to call?
Let's talk about this team. This guy behind you led the way. 22 and 4. And how about the freshman?
Hey, and this little dude, he is fearless.
Well, Coach, I want to ask you, because I know you're not thinking about it yet, but up next, you got Tom Izzo and Michigan State. Yep. Your early thoughts on that one?
Well, they do it the right way. They'll be an honorable opponent. We got about 24 hours or so to get ready for them. But we represented the SEC. How about the SEC? SEC.
Congratulations. We'll see.
Oh, I love it. This NCAA tournament recap is presented by Belfort Property Restoration. Bruce Pearl having a good time. We're here for a good time. We're putting in the time. Hakeem Dermish alongside Adam Finkelstein, Tim Doyle. Tim, it was a second-half surge for Auburn. A 31-8 run propels them to a big win over Michigan. Michigan sloppy at times with turnovers, and Auburn just too much firepower.
You know, when it got to 9, Adam, in the second half, I started to go, oh, boy. And what we saw here was, you got to go back in time. Michael Jordan had a VHS called Learning to Fly. He had to overcome the Pistons to get to where he wanted to get to in his career. They overcame the demons. Like, when I saw them down 9, all I started thinking about was Yale. I was like, oh, my God, they're going to lose this game. Like, they're going to lose in this fashion. Couldn't make a shot, was struggling. It was 48-39 with 12 minutes left. Boom. There goes the run. Pettiford hits a 3. Denver Jones goes on his little 8-0 run himself, and they completely turn the tide, and they dominate the game. I think this was a growing moment, and that's why you see the emotion from the team afterwards.
It was Danny Wolf versus Janai Broome for the first 28 minutes of this game, and it was a really entertaining back and forth. I mean, credit to both of those guys. They played exceptionally well. The difference in this game was Auburn's guards. Denver Jones, Tahad Pettiford, they both made big shots. Tahad Pettiford showing you exactly what we expected coming in from high school, why he's one of the most electric scoring guards in the country as a freshman, and he was big time down the stretch, as he's been multiple times this season.
Auburn with its 31st win of the season. That's most in a season in school history. Need to win a couple more to cut down nets for the first time in school history. Remember, they got to the Final Four in 2019. So did Michigan State that year. Well, the thing is, only one of them is going to go to the Final Four this year in San Antonio. Back out to Atlanta, welcoming the legendary Bill Raftery. Bill, thanks for spending a couple minutes here as you wrap up your game there in Atlanta. What'd you see from Auburn in the second half?
Broom, Jones, and Pettiford, pretty impressive, obviously, on the offensive end. Bruce alluded to in the interview after the game, I just think their defense was magnificent. They met the challenge. They got behind, as you guys noted. Just reacted, responded great. Very unselfish. They screen well. They cut well. They're together. And they really made the game quicker, I think, than Michigan wanted, and that got them going.
Yeah, a great culture for both of those programs, a great culture for Michigan State. Their next opponent here in the Elite Eight, Michigan State and Auburn. You've seen both of these teams up close and personal. How do they match up?
Two different teams, two different approaches. Both are deep, though, and that's one benefit that Michigan State's had, particularly the latter part of the season. They've just been able to rotate bodies. The biggest thing Michigan State presents for them is the dribble drive. I think that's what won their game for them. Defensively, some of the matchups are good, and for Michigan State in the sense that they have three centers to match up with the bigs. But the way they can beat you with the bounce, this talented backcourt. Jones makes shots, and Pettiford, I mean, he's on a different level right now. Controls the dribble, goes either way, can make threes, puts you on skates. It's going to be a very difficult matchup, I think. Even though Michigan State likes to run, obviously we know they're a great rebounding team. They'll run, but they'll be very intelligent. Just going to run and jack up bad shots.
Looking forward to it on Sunday on CBS. The legendary Bill Raftery here with us on CBS Sports HQ. Bill, thanks for the time. Appreciate it.
Thank you. Have a good night.
The one and only Bill Raftery taking a couple moments of his time to talk with us post-game here. We continue our conversation, Adam.
That's hard to do because,
Doyle.
Bill likes to go have a few beers after the game.
Yeah, you know,
I've been with him after those games.
You should go enjoy your evening. You put in the work, you put in the time, go have some fun, go celebrate. Auburn's going to be celebrating into the night here, Adam, and you look at what they did in the second half. What really stood out to you when you got those three guys with 20 points?
I think when you have two guards going to the extent that they do, you have to pick your poison. Janai Broom is hard enough. I mean, listen, you made a point before the game that he wasn't moving quite as well. I knew we were talking about it as the game was going on. You said he thought he looked a little bit better. He still looks hobbled to me. His only offense right now is to bully you. It's all based on physicality. He got 22 and 16 tonight, just being bigger and stronger. He does not have the same mobility that he had prior to that ankle injury. Probably won't until this season is over. So he needs some perimeter firepower. Tonight, he got it. Look at this shot making. This is a freshman, Tahad Pettiford. And I'm going to tell you a story, Hakeem, real quick. This weekend is the McDonald's All-American game. 1 year ago, Tahad Pettiford got one of the last spots in this game. You know who was one of the first players cut?
Tell me.
Jace Richardson. We got an interesting dynamic going to happen in just 48 hours between two electric freshman southpaw guards, and I, for one, am very much looking forward to watching it.
Tim, you asked me about how I felt about Michigan State going up against Auburn. And sometimes you become a prisoner of the moment. You just saw the Auburn game. You're like, wow, how are they going to deal with that firepower? I still believe in Michigan State beating Auburn somehow, some way.
Yeah, I have Michigan State winning the region. After watching that game and that spurtability, Michigan State does not have that spurtability. So they're going to have to do a better job of controlling that 8-0 run by Denver Jones, Pettiford getting rolling. You know, they got a bunch of bodies that they can throw at Broom. I mean, Michigan's got some pretty big bodies as well. Yeah, it's going to be a different game altogether. Michigan State's a completely different team than Michigan. Hats off to Dusty May. got to a Sweet 16, right? He took Vlad Golden. We didn't know what, like, Vlad, Danny Wolf, how that was going to work out. I thought they frankly should have lost the first game to UC San Diego, but UC San Diego couldn't make a shot. That's basketball. And then they gave Auburn all they could handle in this game. So I think for Michigan fans, you got to be excited that Dusty's there. He's obviously done some pretty big things. Wolf's gone. Vlad Golden's gone. It's going to start all over again.
Yeah, they went 8-24 last season. Dusty May comes in first season, turns them around 27-10 as they lose their final game here to post their record at 27-10 in the Sweet 16. That 19-win improvement, largest in program history.
And the Big Ten tournament championship on top of that. Dusty May knows how to win postseason games. At this point, that shouldn't be a surprise to anyone.
Yeah, it was sort of criminal that they were a 5 seed. So that was a poor job of seeding by the committee. Dusty May.
We got to get him a different picture. I'm sorry. He's just a little too excited to be the Michigan coach.
Well, we get these pictures from the school. So it's not like he came here and we had a studio, photo shoot.
No, I understand. I'm just saying. He looks like he's really happy to be the Michigan coach.
He should be.
Now he needs to be a little bit more confident there. He turned the program around like that. You know what he's going to have to do in the next 40 days?
Yeah, he's going to have
to build another roster.
Yeah.
Really, really quickly.
Portal's already open.
40 days. Yeah, more like 4 days. I mean, we got to get moving here.
Yeah, so I assume Danny Wolf's going to turn pro. Vlad Golden is exhausted his eligibility. But they gave Auburn all they could handle. This game, before the game, Adam, when we were breaking it down, I really felt like Michigan could pull off an upset. Or they could lose by 25. And then they're up 9, and you're like, whoa, they're actually going to win this game, and then they lose by double digits. So everything that we kind of thought was going to happen, well, it kind of happened.
I think Dusty may maximize this roster. One of the things that we don't have transparency on is how much NIL all these players are getting. But what we do know is that they got tremendous value out of this roster. Danny Wolf isn't making anywhere near the type of money that some of the bigger guys out of the portal made a year ago, and he was fantastic all season long. He was fantastic in this game. It's going to be very interesting to see what kind of buying power Dusty May goes into next season with, because if there were any doubts about what he could bring to Ann Arbor, those should have been answered in the last year. Now he needs the resources to go out and not try and be make 60 cents out of the dollar, but to go out and really be able to spend with the big boys if we hope to get Michigan back to Final Fours.
4 teams from the SEC into the Elite 8. And we could, by the end of the weekend, have 4 teams into the Final Four from the SEC.
What does that tell you?
Domination. I mean, they had 14 teams. They set a record.
To me, it tells me, I feel like Austin Powers there. They have the best NIL structure. They have the best infrastructure. They have the most money. They're the ones that take it the most seriously. They have the deepest teams. They have the best players. So, yeah, you see what happens. So, everybody else out there, Big 12, WCC, Mountain West, Atlantic 10, you want to win? Figure out an infrastructure and figure out how to build a roster. Dusty May's challenge is going to be, right, he had 2 bigs and he had those guys playing together. His team next year is definitely not going to look like that. But I'm sure other bigs are going to want to go there because he just, he developed Golden, he developed Danny Wolf. But the SEC, Adam, before the season, I picked Alabama to win it. Midway through the season, I picked Auburn to win it. Before the tournament started, I picked Florida to win it. They're all still alive. And right now, I'm like, I have Florida winning this tournament, but I'm like, oh, did I make the wrong choice?
And, to your question about the SEC and to your point about all 3 of those schools, it speaks to just how dominant this league has been. Remember, the record going into the season for postseason appearances was 11 from the Big East in 2011. The SEC got 14 this year, and if anybody doubted whether or not that was legitimate, those doubts have been answered over the course of the last 10 days, because not only did they get teams in, but they won games. The SEC is every bit as good as advertised, and I wholeheartedly agree with you. That is based on NIL. And we don't necessarily have the data to support that because we're only a year or 2 really.
Well, we were at Hunter Dickinson yesterday, and I don't want to get too far into our conversation.
Get too far into it.
But I think we'd all lose our jobs. But yeah, it was interesting to hear him kind of break down Kansas. And you think that they're one thing and there may be another. And yeah, it'd be interesting when this all comes to the forefront of, why the Dodgers win every year?
Yeah, I do.
Spend a lot of money.
They have Shohei Ohtani and 2 other MVPs.
Yeah, but they also
they spend a lot of money.
The Yankees spend a lot of money. These teams spend a lot of money. The SEC right now is spending a lot of money. It doesn't necessarily always mean it's going to translate. But if you have the best players and you have guys buying in.
And the most best players, the depth is out of control.
Right.
Well, for now, 4 teams from the SEC into the Elite Eight. We could have 1 seeds all in the Elite Eight for the first time since 2016. We wait to see about that. Here's a look at those teams from the Southeastern Conference. Auburn beating Michigan. Florida going to match up with Texas Tech for a spot in the Final Four. Alabama and Duke going at it, and Tennessee awaiting their opponent as we await the final in Houston and Purdue. That game being played right now in Indianapolis. But my, oh my, domination from the SEC in this tournament thus far.